They just don't have the right to a state, and although they had one set up for them many decades ago, we should abolish it. I think people would say, And then if the person said, but, oh, by the way, although I want to abolish that state, I have no problem with the Pakistani people.
Hey folks, this is the other Barack coming to you live and direct from Miami. We have an incredible clip of Douglas Murray debating Medhi Hasan. Let's take a look at the clip and talk about it after.
You started with a peroration about me not mentioning the Palestinian casualties. That's because I started by mentioning the war. And there is no law of war that says you're allowed to start a war and then complain when you lose it. And if Medhi cares about the Palestinian casualties, as I'm sure he does, then tell your bosses in Qatar to tell their friends in Gaza to stop the war and give back the hostages. Gideon says Israel needs nothing more than criticism, as if Israel doesn't get criticism. Wow, he doesn't even read his own country's press. By the way, you said the other day in an interview, Gideon, I couldn't care less about the Jewish state, so we know very well where you're coming from. Let me just say a couple of things about that I didn't get to in my opening remarks, but are important. You know, if you didn't throng the streets of this city or any other for the actual genocide going on in Sudan, not the one that Medhi and Gideon pretend is happening, but the actual genocide going on in Sudan, if you didn't spend weekend after weekend doing that, but you did come out for the post-October the 7th protests, you're an anti-Semite. If, like Medhi once sent a tweet condemning that, it doesn't give you quite enough smoke cover. You know, if you protested not a bit, didn't set up a tent when Bashar al-Assad was killing 6 times the number of people in a decade that Israel and all of its enemies have lost in 75 years of war, you are an anti-Semite. And I would just add one other thing. I know that Medhi has tried to reframe the motion. I'm not going to allow it either. You know, maybe there is somebody in the world. Pakistan was invented, created as a state around the same time as Israel. I reckon that if this debate tonight was about Pakistan started a lot of wars, it suffered a lot of wars, it suffered a lot of casualties, caused a lot of casualties. But you know what? If somebody said, I think Pakistan should be abolished. They just don't have the right to a state, and although they had one set up for them many decades ago, we should abolish it. I think people would say, And then if the person said, but, oh, by the way, although I want to abolish that state, I have no problem with the Pakistani people. Please, of course you would.
He is unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I think calling out this double standard for the whataboutism as it pertains just to Israel, which is the common theme for many of the people that have woken up to go to the streets, apparently. I think the simplest way to boil it down to really find out if somebody actually cares is to ask them, if it didn't happen on October 7th and it has been happening since 1948, then where were you before October 7th and why just now? I've been talking about Israel, what's going on in Israel before October 7th. That's because I've lived there prior to October 7th, and I've lived it. I understand it. I've experienced it. I was there during the missile attacks from Gaza, over 5,000 of them 4 years ago. I went up north to Tiberias with 4 of my basketball players because they didn't feel comfortable staying in the Tel Aviv region. Foreign basketball players. Like, if so many people have these baseline punchlines, 1948, not October 7th. It's an apartheid state. It's an open-air prison. They don't let humanitarian aid in. They're killing 60,000 kids. Like, they have these simple data points that they're getting from Instagram, that they're getting from the Gazan Health Ministry, that they continue to just throw out all the time on social media. It's their talking points. And then beyond that, they're actually told not to say anything when you go and interact with these encampment protesters. But the thing is if it is the case that this injustice that you claim is some humanitarian crisis, if it didn't start on October 7th, Susan, where were you on October 6th? Where were you on September? Where were you in July? Where were you last year and the year before and the year before and the year before? Where are you? Why now? I want to know why now. Because if it isn't just about the Jews and it isn't just about Israel, then he has a point. Where were you? Where are you with what's going on in Darfur? Where were you? Where are you with what's going on in Somalia? Where were you? Where are you with what's going on in all of the radicalized states? Where? You didn't say much about Ukraine. Maybe a tweet. You didn't go out to the streets. You didn't do it for India and Pakistan. You're not doing it with what's happening in Korea. You're not doing it anywhere else. But besides Israel. And we have to know why. I want to know why. I demand an answer why. We demand answers why. That's the real reason. The real reason is because if you didn't have the double standard, I shouldn't have to pry at wanting to know why. I want to know why from all of you. Give me a good reason. Give me a good reason. I'm all ears. Thank you so much for all your support. See you next video. If you want to continue the conversation, you can support my work for free. Discord does not cost a thing. It is the best way to connect with me and others who are seeking the truth. The link is in the description. But if you want to take it one step further, my Patreon gives you access to the Israel you don't see, uncovering the untold stories of what mainstream media does not show you. The link is in the description and it helps me to continue this work. Or if you're just looking to help this thing go, PayPal and Buy Me a Coffee is a really easy way to support me. This channel, this work does not happen without all of you. Thank you. I love you. I'll see you next time.